and double check on that. Make sure it is still live. And then when you're done, you just hit that X.
Okay.
All right. All right. So I'm just giving everybody a minute. Hi, everybody. Today we are playing with some mixed media. We're going to be playing with our cosmic shimmers. Fun, fun stuff. One of the reasons I love these is because if you have these and you don't mind shimmer, you can use this for just about everything. You can mix it in with paste. You can mix it with water. You can use it to watercolor. Put that back in there. You can use it in a little palette and you can use it, mix a little water. You can make your own watercolors with it. You can put it in a spray pen, make your own sprays of it, and this lasts forever. So I know one of the challenges I have is that I open something and if I don't use it fast enough, it dries up. So with this being a powder, you haven't mixed it so it doesn't dry up. So you can make smaller batches of things. Um, Instead of, I mean, I would love because, I sell stuff. So of course I'd love for you to own all the things, but I also want some longevity out of your stuff. So, you know, you can, I like things like you can use the solar paste that have a little bit of opaque or a little bit of, what do you call that? Like the different colors that come back at you, but you can mix this with it. So you just get more life out of your products this way. And again, they have a whole bunch of colors. I don't have as many in stock right now. There's also a brand called Lindy's Gang. I have some of those in too. But we are going to play with those today. We're going to kind of do a little, this is a mixed media meaning several different forms of products. So whether that be paste, shimmers. Today I have some rub-ons. I have some stamps to put on. I've got I've got some 49 Market rub-ons that everyone here can cut one out and choose. And I have got some flowers, some laser cutouts, and we're basically making an art journal. Everyone that was here got their little art journal. I don't have one right by. I just cut my own paper because I wanted to save all the books I could for them. But everyone that's here is going to get one of these today. And if you're doing a future class with us, we'll just have you make your own. If I can't get any more books, we'll just add to this because it's a 5x7 book, chipboard front and back with the ring, so we can just add more pages to it. So that's really fun. It's just a good way to get us started in this little group to make different art projects that aren't made necessarily for a big story or photos. It's just for the fun of creating, right? Like that's why we really do it, is for the fun of creating. Okay, so I am going to start with, now I do have watercolor paper here. Again, I was trying to um, save those books for everyone else, so I just got some watercolor paper. Watercolor paper does hold your ink and hold the water really well. These are the books that you have are really thick, so they should be just fine. They might curl a little bit or crunch a little bit, but you know what? It's for fun. It is not to pass on to your great 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 grandchildren. So it's okay. Like, don't stress over it. All right, so we're going to start with just putting just a little spray mist of water on top of our paper just to get it ready for some product. I do have everything on top of my stamp wheel, and I'm just doing this because it makes the paper stick. So as I'm playing with it, doesn't move around quite so much. Oh, you know what I forgot to get is a heat gun. Can anybody grab me a heat gun? It is on the, you know where they're at, right, Ruth? Okay, so on the left-hand side of the Kallax, second shelf down. So we are going to need a little bit of time to let this dry in between. Unfortunately, it's just the matter of it when we're doing paste. You can't just add one thing on top of another. So hopefully it won't take us too terribly long to do. I did choose, and I did want to show you a couple of different techniques with this. So I chose the Katie Protect smaller stencil, and then I chose a larger stencil just because I want to show you some like stenciling with the product. So first thing is first, we're going to do a little bit of stenciling with a tighter stencil. So I'm going to use, this is Twinkle paste. It's a little bit thinner than like regular, where is the other paste I have? The opaque paste, the texture paste. You can also use the texture paste. But I'm just going to scoop out a little bit of this. As you can see, it's a little bit of a thinner texture. I'm going to put that right up there. Again, I'm just scooping out a little bit at a time. Another trick to product when you don't use them as often is if you get some press and seal and put it over top and kind of mash it down to get all that air out, it's going to make your product last a little bit longer. So I'm going to suggest that you not use more than 3 colors just because I don't want your projects turning to mud. Because my colors are greens and these maroons, I've got some golds. I'm going to use a little bit of the gold shimmer shaker. And so you see it comes with this nice little lid and the 3 little dots. So we're going to just tap some of that right down into my paste, and I'm going to mix this in. And we can always add more. So I feel like I want a little bit more. Now as that dries, that paste that you're seeing that makes it look a little bit muddy, that is going to dry clear. So you will see a little bit more of that gold. Just use a little bit more because you know me, between a crafter and a hairdresser, more is better, right? I know that is not always the case, but my brain thinks so. All right, we're still in frame, good? All right, so I'm going to go on and put this. Now I'm not going to do the stencil on the whole entire piece. I just want, well, I'll put it on the whole thing. Now the nice thing about this is it's sticky, so it kind of holds that down a bit. All right, so we're going to put a little bit down here in the bottom corner. And then we're going to put a little bit more up here in the top corner. I'm going to go on and use all the rest of that up. So that way when you're doing it, you can mix your own any color you want. I'm kind of doing that as a thin layer. That's the other thing that's nice about that little twinkle paste. It is a little bit thinner, so it takes a little bit less time to dry. No, that's okay. We're going to leave that right there. You don't have to leave to watch it, but what I will do is, well, I'll just put it right here. That's why we have this paper on all the tables, right? So it doesn't matter if it gets a little bit messy. Ruth is the smart one around here, and she usually has a bucket of water that we put everything in. So, but you don't have to do that now because unless you're watching and you want to watch and do that at the same time. So I'm going to hit this with a dryer just for a couple of seconds. Because again, I really don't want to mess up my paste by going to that next step too fast. But since we're on video, I also don't want to stand here forever just videotaping me drying things. That's like watching grass grow, right? But it's cool because as this dries, you really start to see more of that glitter come out of it. Oh, that's paper starting to curl. I'm getting that a little bit too hot when the paper starts to curl. You got to keep that dryer moving. And if it is curling up, you can always get a little bit, and I've seen this done a lot. People use the masking tape or painter's tape, and they tack down all 4 sides. And then when they remove that painter's tape, it's got a cool white frame. So that's a trick that a lot of people are doing. I didn't just because I have my stamp wheel. All right, so that's fairly dry. Good for us, good for us. So next I am going, and again, we're playing with some different things. Thank you so much. Next we are going to create in a little well. So I'm going to use some green. So this is the ears looking at you, olive. So I'm going to put a little bit of this in one of my wells. And since we're having some fun with it, right? I'm going to do something with a secondary piece of paper because you can just create art with your paper. You don't have to, this is not rules. Every single one is going to come out a little differently. So we want just a little bit of water at a time, but you can always add more water. If you add too much, then you feel like you need to add more powder. So yeah, we definitely need a little bit more than that. This one is the Lindy's gang, but the ones that I'm mostly using are the Cosmic Shimmer ones. So this is kind of a fun, now again, kind of a different technique. It is not, now a lot of us, let's talk about stamping for a minute. A lot of us, when we stamp, we want it to be this perfect outcome, right? So the fun thing about stamping with this, like, because we've all seen, like you've done classes with me before, you've seen me splatter it, you've seen me paint it. Those are easy things. We're going for that next thing. So today we're going to use a little bit of this and we're going to paint it on our stamp. Now we are doing our stamping is because we're making it a little bit messy. Our stamping does not need to be a perfect wait a minute, what am I doing? What am I doing? The whole reason I have a stamp wheel. Okay, we're going to lay that down. And then we're going to put my stamp wheel down on top of it and press. And so it kind of gives you that watercolory fun effect. We're going to use it a second time. So you see, it's not a perfect, it's that kind of whole distressed look we want. And since I have my stamp wheel down here, okay, so I'm going to just put my stamp, because again, if it shifts and moves a little bit, it's okay. Now, I don't even have to have this. I can just use this with my hand because I'm not trying to go for that perfect thing, right? Now, I did bring over for you guys that are playing today, I brought, just a bunch of different background stamps. These are older CTMH stamps, but they're good background stamps that kind of lend themselves to this. Okay, so next I am going to dilute this just a little bit more because I want this shade to be even lighter. Let's see, do I have even a lighter thing to add? I do not. Ooh, but you know what I can do? I'm starting with this green. I can add a little bit of a yellow to it to lighten it up a little bit. So make sure when you're done that you close these caps up so that they don't spill when you open everything back up. Yeah, giving me a little bit more shimmer gold to that. And I'm going to add a little bit more water because I don't want this too dark. I want this very light. It might be too dark. Nope, it's going to be okay.
What would happen if you put the white? I see it's got white over there.
I don't think that will do much. So I'm going to paint just a little bit of this right on my block. Let's see. Let me just hit this with the dryer for a couple of seconds. Usually I think I may be doing this a little bit backwards. I would start with this and then move on, but that's why we're not perfect, right? It's called art for a reason. All right, so we're going to use this green. I'm just going to see what happens here when I do this. I'm going to just put a little bit of that gold right on. I'm going to use a little bit of spray to make that move. And if you kind of angle it a little bit, it splatters that gold as you go. I've still got my green on my block. I'm going to move that around and I'm going to flip that over and I'm just going to make puddles with it. right, now you can pull this up and you can move that around so that that drips a bit. And if it's not dripping enough, you can add a little bit more spray. And that spray is just going to lighten it up even more. And then as you start dripping, look how that moves color around your paper. Now, if you wanted a little bit more gold, you can add some more gold right over top. And that water is going to create that movement. I don't know if you can see how that gold moves it around. All right, so this is just a play thing. We're going to hope it works. I am going to add a little bit more water. Oh, where'd I put my brayer? Hang on. I'm going to put my stencil down. And I'm going to use my brayer and just give that a little bray. And let's see, one more color. What color should we use? A pink, light pink? Or is that one going to be dark enough? Raspberry rose. Well, let's give it a try. We're going to put this right on top of our stencil. Let's spray it down a little bit more. This is why watercolor is good. Watercolor paper is good. We're going to use that stencil just to rub that out a little bit. We're going to pull that up. We're starting to make mud. No more after this. Now we're going to put this down. Flip it down. I don't want to use the brayer because I do have stuff on that brayer. I'm going to lay that down and look at that fun design it just kind of created. So that's a good base for your next project. All right, so again, we've got enough colors. You've got to admit you're wrong and you've made mud. So we don't want any more there. We're going to just dry that a bit. Now the other thing you can do, you know what you can do? A little, do you have a paper towel or a napkin? Oh, there's paper towels right there. Let me go steal one right now. The other thing you can do when you have had enough and you're like, whoopsies, just take that paper towel and daub some of that right back up. Scripts are really fun with this too. A lot of people like a good script. Like script stamps. Like stamp with actual ink, stamp your script. Because at this point we've done, So at this point we have done our background. So now we can add, like right now, right here, if this was by itself, you might want to do something a little bolder right here, but that's where I'm going to put my sentiments. We're going to kind of cover up that little place in the middle. This didn't work out as well. And just like Ruth said early on, no two projects are going to be the same. And you wouldn't want them to be. Like, how fun would it be if they were all the same? Like, the whole point of doing this is to create art. And as you go, like right now I'm looking at that middle going, dag nabbit. But you know what? When it's done, it's going to be beautiful. Dry that paper. All right, so next I want to use a background rubble. Now I did use a lot of greens. Ooh, so we've got some nice sentiments there too. So I am going to use, I'm just going to use one of these little florals right here. And I'm leaving this whole thing out so you can use whatever you guys like. This does need to be rather dry for it to work. If it's wet, you know, the rub-on is not going to go on well. I'm going to have that little guy moving down because I've got a clearer space for him right there. And use my bone folder. Make sure I'm not getting my head under the camera.
You're good.
Now with rub-ons are not the thing that we were when we started scrapbooking in the 90s and 2000s. They have come a long way. So you just want to rub that, and then you want to slowly just start bringing that up, and you can see when you pull it if it's gone down or not. Now that one did not stick as perfectly as I would like, and that might have been just because I've got so much ink right there and it may not be fully dry. So a little bit more rubbing. See, you pull it up gradually. There we go. And since you guys are here for the day with this, this is all out for you to play. So you can give yourselves more time to allow the whole thing to dry. I missed a little bit of this, so I'm just going to put a little bit of those splatters right over here. There we go. I don't ever want to leave any rub on little splooches. So I just keep, if there's one left, I'm just going to keep adding it. All right, so next I'm just going to find a little ticket here. I've got these little tickets. That curl back on itself. I'm just adding those two tickets over top. Whoop. I know, I'm just getting all stuck everywhere. And then I've got some bigger sentiments. I've got some, you know, larger flowers. I'm going to save some of those for you guys to do with what you wish. And I am going to pull out, I'm just going to pull out, I'm going to pull out a frame. Oh, a frame and a bird. I think a small set of flowers. I brought some brown inks over to use it, and I thought, oh, there's so much brown in these, I don't want to use brown. And I thought, I'll use the green. And then I'm looking at it going, well, that's a lot of green, too. So we're going to use some flowers, a frame, a little bird. What do you think? Or a butterfly. Just got all kinds of good stuff, so. Or maybe all of them. Okay, so we're going to just go with all of them. All right, so I do have my little glue here. I have not used this glue before. I ordered it to see what it was going to be all about. I'm going to center that. Right, so I've got the leaves coming down underneath. I've got the frames coming above. You know what? Because this is a lighter color, I'm changing my mind. I still do want to do this, but I want to these edge it a little bit with a little bit of that brown ink to make it pop off of the page a little bit more. I love the details of this frame, but it might be a little bit light. Feel that like that helped it a bit. You can also use some foam tape, which I did not bring over. But if you're trying to put this in your book, and it's just for funsies and for art, you might not want to add that much thickness. I'm going to tuck those flowers right there. Oh, taking that off camera. Sorry, little bird. He's sitting right on top of that frame. And I would like a little foam tape on him for that. Actually, one of the things I really do like to do with butterflies is like to put a tiny piece of foam tape down on his wings and just glue his body down. So it gives it just a little bit more edge. So I'm just going to put him down right in the middle just like that. I love it. So the next thing you can do, I know a lot of the creators will get the little sentiment strips. They have a little sentiment that says, well, let's see what we have here. Thank you. Let's do happy thoughts. There's just keep growing. I've got I'm going to put that down. And then use my little bone folder. Ooh, does anybody have a black journaling pen handy? Nah, never mind. One of the other things that you can do, again, like this, because my greens were a little bit darker, one of the other things that you can do to really make something pop out is you can do a black journaling pen and just do like hand-drawn lines around it. Not scribbly so much, but some little hand-drawn lines. And that makes that piece pop out as well. Just a little outline. So there we go. But I think that happy thoughts really did bring that all together. So, yep. Your turn to create. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like in the middle of it, I was like, eek, not so much. Now, if I'd have had more products over here than just these, I might have gotten some brighter flowers to pull that out. But this is what we have. And I still think it's really pretty. Now, I could cut this down and make a card front of it. Or I can just punch my little holes out and put it in my book. And we're good to go. Let's see. Oh, someone left a message. Hi. Hi, Ruth. Hi, Jody. Hi. Oop, I see some people doing some highs. Thank you guys for watching. So we're going to give the ladies here a little chance to play for themselves. And then Ruth is going to be back at 11:30. Yep, 11:30 still on track. Okay, Ruth is going to be back at 11:30. I'm just going to put the camera out to her and say hi. She is going to be here. I'm going to walk over there with her. And she is first. Hi, these are our end people, folks. So she's going to be showing you. I'm going to introduce you to Ruth. Okay, I'm coming this way. I'm coming. She is introducing you to jelly plates. then later this afternoon, right over there, right behind Becky, Pam, you can Vanna it for me. We're going to be doing alcohol inks. All right, so be back. Make sure you've liked and subscribed, and come back to see the rest of the day. Okay, bye. Okay, so now when we're done, we just hit the X at the top left. And then it says, are you sure you want to stop streaming? And you say, okay.
And that saves it.
That saves it, but be careful.